think it's a pretty dramatic sort of headline to talk about, putting Man City into the National League or dropping them down to the leagues. Also, it did happen with the Rangers, obviously in Scotland. So it has happened. And then you worry about things like, would Abu Dhabi then have a word in the government's ear and say, well, by the way, this new defence contract we're thinking about, maybe that won't happen if this happens to Man City. It goes on and on in terms of where this leads to now, which is why it should have been nipped in the bud, and ways found to resolve this and warning shots across the bows could have been done a while ago, rather than going the full route that we're going down right now with the legal situations.
And Keith, what if you had to give an opinion then, if Everton get 10 points for one charge, what charge do you think Man City and Chelsea should face should their cases turn out to actually be true and accurate?
I couldn't say, because I don't know enough detail about the charges themselves. And all I've done is I've read the the leaked emails that were out at the time. It would seem to be a serious breach, and so there's got to be, if they're going on the points deduction route. But then again, look, we've got to wait until the appeal as well, because until we know the final penalty that is given to Everton, then you don't really know what the scale is going to be. My own opinion on the appeal is that there may well be a reduction, a considerable reduction, and either suspended. It could well be a points deduction, but suspended. And then you'd have to look at then how that would sit against a Man City, situation. So,
I mean, that's quite interesting. Because one of the things I was told by a pretty good source last week was that the appeal was likely to reduce the deduction to around 3 to 6 points, which might seem a fairer outcome. I mean, and you're talking about potentially suspended deduction. That would be a massive turnaround where that to happen, wouldn't it? And completely sort of change the climate in a way for this.
Well, it's in a funny way. It's also Man City and Chelsea's interest to now put pressure to make sure that the penalty gets reduced.
And one thing actually I wanted to ask you, Keith, because obviously we saw the Super League last year. We saw the big six clubs. They all went behind it. The fine they were given, which basically would have meant abolition of the league as we know it, was 3.7 million per club, I believe, which is pretty much, combine that together, which was pretty much how much Everton overspent over those 3 seasons. I mean, that seems astonishing, doesn't it, looking back, that Everton are fined 10 points. These clubs who threatened to walk or tried to abolish the league as we know it, they then given a measly few million, which wouldn't even have bought one of the left backs that you've been talking about.
Even more so, Wayne, when you look at the commission findings on Everton, and they said, we didn't think a financial penalty was appropriate for a rich owner. Now, how does that sit with the Super League situation when you give them a paltry slap on the wrist of 3.7 million? And, you're absolutely right. It begs the question. So, again, you see, what we found there was the Premier League stepped in, found a way around it, and managed to keep the lid on everything.
Yeah.
That's what they haven't done this time. And that's what I'm really disappointed, that they haven't been able to find a way through this and keep a lid on it and still maintain some degree of authority. I don't think it must have been the political environment around the independent regulator that's made them go so extreme. Because, as you say, when you compare the Super League to this, it just makes no sense in terms of a comparison.
No, absolutely not. You've just watched a segment from Football Insider's brand new podcast, The Inside Track, with me, Lewis Pearce, alongside the guests on the show. Thanks very much for tuning in. Please do give the video a like, comment your thoughts on the topic, and feel free to share on your social media pages. If you want to listen to the full podcast episode, click the link in the description below. Keep your eyes peeled for plenty more content and exclusives here on The Inside Track.